A vintage Christmas DIY can be accomplished with using recyclables such as these medicine prescription bottles. And today's DIY, we are also going to include some mason jar lids and pick out a scrapbook paper of Christmas style. Using the oach, we can get this vintage color accomplished real easy on plastic, and the acrylic deco art paint is excellent for coverage with one application. So one coat on the mason jar lids as well, and we can take an extra bottom and glue it to give it the style we're looking for. Now, going through this Christmas vintage scrapbook, these are 6x6 sheets, and they fit the tall and the short prescription medication bottles perfectly. By fitting it, you can take a pencil and trace that to the size you need, and then you can cut it to size. Now, we're going to do a little extra, but as we go to adjust this paper, if you'll go ahead and pre-roll it and bend it on the sides, it will be easy to wrap it around the medication bottles, simple and with a breeze. A little bit of hot melt, and we can glue it together. Now that we have this bottle covered sufficiently, there's masking of the color of medication prescription bottles. So rather than recycling, repurposing, reusing by sending it to the recycling company, we can do it ourselves. Sand the bottoms of your mason jar lids. They'll make it adhere really easy to these plastic lids. And take an extra cap and glue it to the bottom. When we do this and we add the mason jar lids to the bottom and the top, you are going to be impressed. We now have this beautiful spool, and it looks just like the old-timey wooden spools. We're going to spice ours up and make it truly a vintage Christmas do-it-yourself. Now, with the small bottle, we need to do a little extra to mask the golden color of the medicine prescription bottle. So using some acrylic black paint, paint the knobbed area where the lid generally sits atop. And go inside about 1/2 inch so that you make sure you camouflage it because of the way the paper's going to fit. And of course, do 1/2 inch at the bottom and the entire bottom. That will completely cover up the color of the plastic. Trace out that scrapbook paper and cut it to size. Now, once we glue this one into place, we need to be aware we got to do this in the air. So once again, fold those sides, roll it up, and that will help it to wrap around that bottle with ease when you go to glue it. Now, by doing this, we are getting that look we're going for. And I have glued it just below the knobbies. You will have to kind of do this in the air in order to get it completely covered. And I did add glue in the center of this one before buckling it down, just for some extra insurance that the paper will stay in place until I get the mason jar lids glued to the bottom and the top. Now, I went back with black paint and painted the lower area so it would match the top. It would blend it in better. And as I was doing this, I had gotten a little paint onto the scrapbook paper. Well, I decided that looked pretty good and not so bad. So let me just spread it out some more. And I began distressing the scrapbook paper. And when I did this, I discovered, oh my gosh, this really does look like a vintage spool. So I liked it so much, I did the other one too. And it was one of those accidents that really, truly made this thing turn into something awesome. So I distressed the mason jar lid on the metal, making it look really old-timey with just some black dry brushing of the paper, the lid, and the top. Now, as I went through there and I'm achieving the color I wanted, I'm really, truly content with it, and I'm thinking, oh my goodness, this is truly going to help me decide which way to go. And I discovered another thing. These can be small, miniature cachets. Well, an excellent way to convert these into little gifts that you can attach to presents, or you can put hidden things inside of them as a cachet. These also make a great gift to someone to adorn their desk, or maybe one of your college students to kind of dress up their room a bit. So selecting some of the smaller items and older ornaments of mine that I truly wanted to keep, I began gluing them to the top of it, making these little statue vignettes. And those drove the theme, which way to go, what kind of scenery and what kind of theme I wanted upon each one of these medicine bottle vignettes. This one, to get that bell to tie into place, I used jute twine to kind of anchor it on there temporarily. But to make sure it didn't come off, I'm using the hot melt glue and gluing the jute twine to the bottom of the vintage vignette, and it won't ever come off. And just cut off the difference of the jute twine and glued that knot down as well. So I had these small string of ornaments, and these are vintage as well. I cannot find any more that's this small and this long, but I thought that would look really neat, draped around the bottom like a garland. And I turned it upside down, started gluing the string into place and turning the ornaments to where they look like they're hanging down. It looked so good, I decided to do the bottom too. And it just really started coming together. And the more I worked with these, the more I enjoyed them and wanted to do more of them. So I will have plans to make more of these in the future, and also to make some as gifts. These I am keeping for myself because I've got some of my older ornament pieces that I wouldn't want to be without. And these are going to be really nice sitting on my tier tray and about my home. So take you a couple of chenille stems. I've got one of the tinseled red and, of course, a standard white. Twist them together as you did at Christmas time, maybe in school or at church, and make you a shepherd's hook we know as a candy cane. And once I got that candy cane formed just right, I wanted to put it in this vignette, and I'm toying with where am I going to put it, how am I going to get it on there. But in the meantime, I grabbed one of the wooden snowflake ornaments and glued it directly to it. So I made sure I put my glue insurance on the back. Do that so that you don't lose your ornament from off your candy cane. Well, I had these little wooden trucks, and the little wooden truck is perfect atop of this with the pine tree and the snowman. And I thought, oh, this is an outdoor scenery. This is perfect with the bell hanging on it. And now I can put me one of the ornament deers in the tree. Well, that looked so good, I decided that's what I'll do. I'll put a little bit of glue on the side of the snowflake, let it glue inside the tree, and then take the edge of it and glue it to the side of the lid. And it just looked wonderful. Now I went ahead and made another candy cane out of the other side and decided to add it to the little mouse for an outdoor scene. If you're enjoying this video, give it a thumbs up and definitely share this idea with a friend. Hey, I found a way that we can totally utilize the prescription medication bottles and not just throw them in the recycle bin. We could turn them into gifts that we can give to our friends and maybe someone in a rest home that could use a little bit of Christmas cheer on their table. I had these wooden stocking ornaments, so I glued them on, and this one started to begin to look like a fireplace vignette. With that in mind, I grabbed my greenery, and I thought a little bit of greenery on the tall one would be perfect. And I wanted that on the small one as well. I had these more of the hard resin plastic trees and the little snowballs from Dollar Tree. Most all of these supplies came from Dollar Tree. And I had these wooden ornament signs in the miniature ornaments from Walmart. I thought that'd be a great way to put a sign on there. So how can I get this on here? Well, I took the ribbon that it was tied to it and draped it across the metal lid, gluing the ribbon down to the lid. It will not come off, just as the jute twine will be your extra tool to get things to adhere to these. On the metal, that is. So I trimmed off the difference, and I put the sign also onto the tall one. And now that finished it up. It was perfect. Well, to cover up the ribbon and mask it, I used a 3-dimensional paint from Dollar Tree and added some glitter and snowflakes You can find these little glass bottles of these little flakes and presents and trees and things at Joann's and in the Target dollar spot. And I just shook off the difference. And that was perfect. Well, to get the greenery to stay, I had to grab some jute twine and glue it down on the metal. That will ensure this little greenery is not coming back off. It came off originally. So now I can glue the greenery to the jute twine, and that will give it the extra harness and insurance it needs. So if you're enjoying this video, definitely subscribe to the channel. We do DIYs like this all the time, and I'd love to have you as a DIYer on my team. Now, these tinsel chenille stems, we got silver, black, red, green, take your pick. And this beautiful vintage Santa Claus mug. You can find these at Dollar General and Dollar Tree this year. And this is a traditional vignette or floral arrangement that you commonly see. Everyone should own a Santa Claus mug. If you truly want a vintage Christmas do-it-yourself idea, dress up your Santa Claus mug, since it only gets out at Christmas. My thing is I wanted a tinsel tree, and I could not find one to save me from anywhere. You just can't find a little miniature tinsel tree. So I decided to show you how I made mine in case you would like a tinsel tree of your own. I doubled up the stencil, finding that it would be more durable to have that double tinsel and then tie all the pieces, and just cut short and long pieces and twist them onto the one that you've made double. So here's the first one and the second one. And that second one, the larger one, is going to be the centerpiece in my vintage Santa Claus do-it-yourself floral arrangement or vignette. Grab all your small little supplies and ornaments from Dollar Tree, Walmart, and everywhere. And that way you've got a host of many things to choose from, including my vintage ornaments. I grabbed one of the styrofoam bricks from Dollar Tree, and I'm going to show you how I cut mine to size. I use my putty knife, also from Dollar Tree, and I make me a mark, and it will slice right through this styrofoam brick like butter. And you won't have all these pieces laying around and flying all over the place. So once I cut that part in half, I can keep the wrap on it, and it will secure it for later. And then to get this right down to size, I do the same thing. I set it up there, kind of eyeball it, make me a mark, and scour it. And then I sit it down on my table, and I'm able to cut that just like a knife. And it is super fast, super easy, and now my mug will be full of the styrofoam. Now, what's really neat about this vintage Santa Claus mug DIY I'm showing you is there's absolutely no tinsel, no kind of coverage on that styrofoam. I am going to be putting everything directly into the styrofoam. You will not have to mask it at all. By the time you get it full, it will cover it. So taking those little mini packages from Dollar Tree, I lay it on my 2.5-inch ribbon and use it as a measurement to cut another piece. And I wrap that with that ribbon, taking the wire out. Now I have a fabric covered Christmas present. And I did 2 like that because I knew I would need 2. And I wrapped it with jute twine and tied it and just cut off the difference. And these look like really cute packages. To make me a miniature drum set, I grabbed a wooden skew and I cut 2 little sticks off of it to make the drumsticks. And using your hot melt glue, kind of create a ball on the tip of the pieces of wooden skew you cut and allow it to harden and dry. Once you've gotten both of them with that glue pile on the end and it's hardened, you'll be able to easily paint it and give it color if you want to, or you can leave it just like it is. My idea was thinking of the little soft fur that's on the ends, but I wanted this drumsticks to stand out. So I painted the tips of mine white, and that just colored that hot melt glue real easy. Because once it's hardened and dry, you can paint it. So now I have my drumsticks. And on my drum, I painted the surface of it white versus leaving it completely silver all over. So now I can glue the little drumsticks to the drum, and that will fix this item so it will look really, really nice inside of the vintage Santa Claus mug. And it only takes a dab of glue and just awkwardly trying to turn my arm and get it into place. And once it's there, it's not going anywhere. So that takes care of this. The next thing I found was my metal ornament boxes, Santa Claus boxes from Walmart. And I knew that if I bored a hole in the bottom, I could put a stick in it. This is a vintage ceramic soldier boy, drummer boy. And I'm just putting a regular wooden dowel on him without gluing it. And then the little train, I just took the holder off of it, the hanger. And then I had these burlap bags I got from Dollar General. Grab you a paper clip because you're going to need it for the Santa Claus bag. So as this shaped and the tinsel tree was the center, it became the theme of Christmas morning with Santa Claus's sack. So I put a little polyfill in there and kind of shaped it. Well, then I remember grab my water bottle and mist it on your burlap and your jute twine. That will help train it and get it curling in the direction you need it to go and forming how you need it. And then you can shift it and shape it as best you can. Because it only needs a mist of water. Don't load it down, just a spray mist. Shape it the way you want, and then it is ready to go. So grab you a paper clip and bend it out because we're going to also use it as a floral pick to put our items into our vintage Santa Claus mug. So as you bend and shape it out, you'll be able to slide it in through the fabric of the bag. And now we have our floral pick. And we got the ends coming out. It's ready to go. And I can place it there in the back. The next thing I did is went ahead and put a little glue on the tip of the skew that I had painted. I painted the skew red, placed it inside that metal box, and then so it won't spin around and be flopping and acting crazy, I put a little bit of glue at the hole, and that'll give it some extra security too. And that's just to cover it up and hold it in place. I began by putting the little soldier boy that's ceramic, that is truly the vintage ornament piece that I own, into my Santa Claus mug, and I wanted it where I could see it. And I started strategically placing everything where I wanted it. So once again, using the paper clips worked great to harness the Christmas packages into place. As I promised, I was going to show you that we will cover the whole surface of this Santa Claus mug, and you will not ever see any styrofoam or have to put anything else in the bottom. These small nutcrackers came from Dollar General. They are wooden, and so they will stand the test of time. And I glued him near the back side rear. But he was tall enough and large enough he stood out. And this vintage lollipop, I stuck it into place. It's made of plastic. It's been around a long time. And just look at it. Every direction you turn your mug, you're going to be able to see your pieces. And then all of these wooden ornaments they had at Walmart in this box, I decided, okay, it's time to put the train into place before I go further. So I twisted the paperclip around that train because it's heavy, so I needed it to be secure. And once I got that twist around it, I left it hanging from the bottom and stuck it into the styrofoam using it as a floral pick. It was perfect. And it looked great just right there in front of the little boy and right along with the packages. And it's shaping up pretty good. We have just a little bit further to go. So no mug seems complete to me without a little bit of greenery. That was my own personal choice. I bought a 9-foot garland from Walmart last year, and I'm still cutting greenery off of it. It looks voluptuous. It's got like 5 different greenery leaves in it. It's perfect. So I took a wooden skew and I painted it black. I needed reindeer. I wanted reindeer in this vignette. I couldn't help it. So those little wooden ornament reindeers, I glued them on this skew, making it look like they are flying. I attached another one down below, just the frontal of it, and once again gave it that appeal. So I put my glue insurance on there, as I tell you, use your glue insurance, and got both of them on there, and I stuck them in the back of the mug. Now create you another peppermint stick, candy cane stick for your Santa Claus mug. On this one, I doubled it up. I just flipped down that extra bottom and twisted it. That made it a little more thicker and more durable and heavy duty. And that will fit in my mug perfectly. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please consider subscribing. And be sure to hit the thumbs up. That lets me and YouTube know that you liked it and would enjoy more of the like. Share this with a friend. These are some great vintage Christmas DIY ideas. I really enjoyed it, and here we go with our mug. Until the next DIY, this is Elizabeth, and I'll be crafting y'all. Merry Christmas.